You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
And welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. As expected, Senator Charles Perry and Representative Dustin Burrows of Lubbock have jointly filed resolutions calling for a Texas constitutional amendment to move 1/3 of the permanent university fund to Texas universities other than Texas and Texas A&M. That fund was set up over 130 years ago and uses money generated from West Texas land only for UT and A&M. But UT's move to the Southeastern Conference sparked an angry move to change all that. Last check, that fund was worth over $24 million. The Lubbock City Council, with a second vote, has approved sending that $174 million road bond to the ballot on November 2nd. The road projects are all over the city: 114th, MLK, Erskine, Upland. If you vote yes, it'll be a 2-cent tax hike, an average of about $9 a year for the next 5 years. Mayor Dan Pope says he thinks it's a good deal, but it's your call.
It touches all parts of our community. Older parts of our community where we need to go back and rebuild, fast growth parts of our community where we need to build. It has a very, very small impact on the tax rate. I think it's a very responsible way of dealing with our needs.
The council also approving the next city budget, which includes a tax cut while raising an extra $4 million. It's a 2-cent decrease in your taxes. And the extra money comes from the new tax revenue brought in by all this growth of new homes and businesses. Lawsuits and judge rulings just adding to the confusion about schools and masks and COVID safety and who can do what as the new school year begins. Meanwhile, this COVID Delta variant threatens to throw a monkey wrench into the political plans of many and the day-to-day plans of folks hoping the worst of COVID was behind us. But once again, beyond the political hype is the reality taking place in our hospitals. And KAMC Maggie Glenn tells us about so many new patients and so little time and resources to help them.
Please, please, don't get on your motorcycles. Don't ride your ATVs. Get the kids off the trampoline. Okay? Because if you come to Northwest with an injury, I cannot guarantee you that we can give you the care you need.
Amarillo health officials plead with the public Thursday as COVID patients take up more hospital beds. The same dire message echoed from hospital systems across the state, like in Lubbock.
Unfortunately, we are, just like every other hospital in the state of Texas, full of patients.
And in Austin,
I have had to treat patients in the waiting room. It's like being at war.
The physical capacity isn't the main problem for most hospitals, though.
We don't have the nursing staff to take care of that number of patients. We're asking for additional resources in a very vigorous way. We're putting out lots of contracting offers to get more staff. It's not yielding the results that we need.
The state promises help is on the way, but DSHS says it will be a week before all 2,500 extra staff arrive, and longer before they're ready to work.
Most travel nurses will get anywhere from 2 to 3 days worth of orientation, and then they're put on the schedule and they're on the floor.
It's difficult to recruit them from out of state.
The entire country is experiencing a shortage like this.
For now, health officials are begging Texans to get vaccinated and mask up.
We've gone to Plan A, moved to Plan B, and there's no Plan C right now. And so we're asking you to do your part.
Maggie Glenn, KAMC News.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Let's go ahead and spend 5 more good minutes with County Judge Curtis Parrish. I know you're always monitoring the state of the COVID situation in the county and with our hospitals. A lot of people were just hoping this is another blip on the radar, but how serious is this surge in cases?
It's very serious, Brian. We're seeing our hospitalization rates going up. We're seeing that the ones who are coming to the hospital are sicker than we had from last year. Well, one is we know how to treat people, and we know how to treat them at home better. So the ones who are coming to the hospital are the ones who are really, really sick. I think the thing that is probably the most troubling to me is that the ones who are going to the hospital, the ones who are getting sick, the ones who are going on ventilators, the ones who are in ICU, are the ones who have been unvaccinated. And that is, we're looking at probably 99% of the people who we are hospitalizing right now because of COVID have been unvaccinated. And that ought to tell you, go get the shot.
Yeah.
Go get the immunization. Keep yourself, keep your family, keep your neighbors safe. It's a very simple thing. I know the political ramifications of this, that we've politicized the vaccine, but it does save you from going to the hospital. If you catch COVID, even after you get vaccinated, which we do, we know that there people have been that way.
Yeah.
You are not, the likelihood of you getting so sick that you will need to be on a ventilator and potentially pass away diminishes rapidly. So go get vaccinated.
Absolutely. And what's your thought on the governor sort of taking some of the control over potential mask issues or capacity issues or anything that has to do with COVID away from county judges and away from county control?
Well, last March, a year ago, March of 2020, we knew pretty quick that this crisis was going to be managed in Austin alone. We had tried to set some things in place, Lubbock County, and through my powers as county judge, but that was quickly taken away from us even a year and a half ago. We know that this is the governor's crisis to manage, and the most that we can do from a governmental point of view, a local governmental point of view, is follow the governor's orders.
Yeah. There's still quite a bit of federal COVID relief money out there to be distributed to counties.
Right.
A lot of rules that go through that as well. What have you heard from the feds on guidance? How much does Lubbock have to spend? Do you have that earmarked for certain things? What can and can't you spend that on?
Well, back in March, President Biden signed into law what's called the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. And so through ARPA, Lubbock County received a direct payment of $60.2 million. Now, we received half of that already. So in the bank here in Lubbock, we've got $30.1 million. That money, when we accept the money, you accept the strings.
Right.
And so the criteria, we're just now getting what's called the final criteria or the final guidelines as to what we can and can't spend the money on. And so we're going through that. We've been meeting with various folks throughout the communities on what the needs are based on what they lost because of COVID, whether it be through small businesses, nonprofit organizations, and we will continue to do that. We will be looking at even our own budget and looking at the items, see what Lubbock County's response to COVID was and how we could replace those dollars with ARPA money. But the strings, I think, are very clear. Some of them are pretty broad. And there's definitely things that we can't spend it on. But it's designed to return that money to the community, to help the community recover the losses that we had because of COVID.
So maybe some more business relief potentially out
Potentially,
there. Yeah.
Yes.
And just cost incurred by the county for whatever reason.
That's right.
Because of this. Interesting. Well, keep us updated on what's going on. I know we got to get the final budget signed off and ready to go here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
we will. Of course, we've got the budget at a place where we can lock it in. We will do the final approval for the budget and the tax rate on September the 14th, of course, and that's leading up to November the 2nd, when we'll ask for the voters to walk beside us. As soon as we get the budget taken care of, we'll go right into redistricting. That's about a 45-day period. And then after redistricting, we'll start looking at the ARPA money.
My goodness.
And how we return that to the community.
He never stops. Judge Curtis Parrish, a lot on the plate. Good to see you.
It is a lot on the plate. Thank you.
And straight ahead, a new start and a new way of doing things for Lubbock Police. Community policing begins with the first Lubbock substation opening for business, and more of these to come. What it all means for you, next on Talking Points.